It was 2:47 a.m. The world outside was quiet, but inside her apartment, Emily's mind refused to rest. Her body was exhausted, yet her thoughts kept running. What if I lose my job tomorrow? What if something happens to Mom? Why can't I just be okay? She stared at the ceiling, feeling that familiar tightness in her chest. She had everything she thought she needed: a stable career, a warm home, friends who cared. And yet, each night, anxiety would creep in like an uninvited guest. No matter how many affirmations she whispered or how many deep breaths she tried, the silence only made her worries louder. Maybe you've felt that too. That endless storm of what-ifs that arrives just when the world grows still. The harder you try to fight it, the more it fights back. You promise yourself that tomorrow you'll slow down, but tomorrow always becomes another race. Emily used to believe that peace meant fixing her life, checking every box, eliminating every problem, finally becoming good enough. But one afternoon, something shifted. After another long day, she passed by a small park and noticed an old man sitting alone on a bench. He wasn't scrolling his phone or rushing anywhere, just watching the sunlight move through the leaves. There was nothing extraordinary about the scene, yet something about his stillness felt like a mirror reflecting what she had been missing. That night, she searched for what Buddhists call the art of being here, the practice of coming home to this breath, this moment, without trying to make it different. And for the first time in years, she began to understand that peace is not the absence of anxiety. It's the gentle acceptance that even anxiety, too, is impermanent, because every thought, every fear, every sleepless night, just like the wind moving through the trees, will also pass. If this story already touches something quiet inside you, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need peace tonight. Your simple act helps more hearts find rest and reminds you that we're all breathing through this together. So tonight, as you listen, I invite you to let go of fixing and simply allow yourself to rest inside this moment, exactly as it is. Take a slow breath in, and as you breathe out, feel yourself softening, like waves easing back into the ocean. What comes next is not a lecture, but a journey. A return to the calm that was never truly lost, only forgotten beneath the noise. The disease of hurry. Morning came, but peace did not. The alarm screamed before the sun had even risen, and Emily's first thought wasn't gratitude. It was hurry. She scrolled through her phone before her eyes had even adjusted to the light. Emails, messages, notifications. A digital flood that washed away the fragile calm of dawn. She brushed her teeth while checking her schedule, poured coffee she didn't taste, and ran out the door with her heart already racing ahead of her body. If you've ever felt that, you know it's not just about being busy. It's a quiet panic that hums beneath everything. A sense that if you stop moving, even for a moment, something will fall apart. We live in a world that praises speed, a culture that measures worth by how much we can produce, how many boxes we can check before the day ends. And slowly, without realizing it, we begin to confuse motion with meaning. There's a moment, usually in the middle of a chaotic day, When you look around and realize your whole life feels like running on a treadmill. Breathing hard, moving fast but not really getting anywhere. We don't need anyone to chase us. We are both the runner and the tiger. The Buddha spoke of this restlessness long before the word anxiety existed. He called it tanha, the thirst that never ends. It's not just wanting things, it's the deep craving for this moment to be different than it is. The craving to fix, to improve, to be somewhere else, someone else, doing something else. And from that craving comes dukkha, the unease, the dissatisfaction, the quiet suffering that laces through modern life. You see it everywhere. The parent who scrolls through emails during dinner, the student who studies with one hand and checks social media with the other, the driver at a red light refreshing the news feed as if the world might change in the next 2 seconds. We are surrounded by people who are physically here but mentally somewhere else. And when everyone around you is rushing, stillness can feel almost rebellious. But Buddhism teaches something simple and radical. Speed is a habit, not a law of nature. Presence is always a choice. No matter how fast the world spins, you can choose not to spin with it. There's an old Zen story about a monk who lived near one of the busiest train stations in Tokyo. Every day, thousands of people rushed past him. Commuters with briefcases, travelers checking their watches, voices echoing through loudspeakers. A journalist once asked, "How can you possibly meditate here with all this noise?" The monk smiled and said, "I don't wait for the world to be quiet. I simply walk slowly." He wasn't trying to escape the chaos. He was redefining his relationship with it. And that's what we've forgotten how to do. We tell ourselves that we'll slow down after we finish this project, after the kids grow up, after things settle. But life never settles. The moment we finish one race, another begins. It's not that we don't have time. It's that we've forgotten how to inhabit the time we have. Our bodies weren't built for this constant urgency. When you rush from the moment you wake up until the moment you collapse at night, your nervous system forgets how to rest. It keeps you locked in survival mode. Heart racing, breath shallow, muscles tight, as if every meeting were a tiger waiting to attack. And in that constant state of alertness, anxiety thrives. Your body can't tell the difference between running from danger and running toward a deadline. Either way, it believes your life is at stake. No wonder we feel drained even on days when nothing truly terrible happens. We're not tired because we did too much. We're tired because we never stop bracing for impact. There's a simple truth hidden in the Buddha's words. The trouble is, you think you have time. We rush because we imagine peace will come later. After we earn it, achieve it, deserve it. But later never arrives. Peace doesn't wait at the finish line. It appears only when you stop running. Let's be honest. Slowing down feels uncomfortable at first. When you've lived at full speed for years, stillness can feel like failure. You may even feel guilty for resting, as if your worth depends on exhaustion. That's the lie we've been sold, that busyness equals value. But the truth is the opposite. A quiet mind works better, loves deeper, and lives longer. Take a moment now. Just where you are. Pause your hands, unclench your jaw, let your shoulders drop. Feel the weight of your body sitting, standing, or lying down. This is the first step of samatha, the calming of the mind through awareness of the body. Now breathe slowly. In through the nose, out through the mouth, again, and once more, softer this time. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to be. Each breath is an act of quiet rebellion against a world that profits from your hurry. Here's the paradox. When you slow down, life actually expands. The colors sharpen. The sounds grow richer. Moments that once blurred together begin to unfold like petals. It's as if peace was never missing. It was just waiting for you to catch up. In the West, we talk about making time. But time isn't made. It's met. You meet it fully or you miss it entirely. Presence doesn't require a retreat, a guru, or a mountain. It begins with a breath and the courage to stop running from yourself. So the next time you find yourself rushing for no reason, remember, the world will keep spinning even if you walk slowly. Let the crowd move around you. Take one deliberate step, then another. You may notice something extraordinary. The rhythm of life still flowing, but now you are part of it, not chasing after it. If this moment of stillness speaks to you, pause here and gently like this video or subscribe, not for the algorithm, but as a small promise to yourself, to slow down, to breathe, to live awake. Because the more you chase life, the faster it runs. But when you slow down enough to truly see it, life comes closer, sits beside you, and whispers the one truth hurry can never understand. Peace was never waiting in the future. It has always been here, in this breath, in this now. And that is where our journey turns next, toward the story of how one prince, protected from all suffering, stepped beyond the palace walls and saw the truth that would change the world forever. The Buddha and the Four Sights. Long before he was called the Buddha, he was just a man named Siddhartha, a prince born into perfection. His father built high walls around the palace, promising him a life untouched by pain. Inside those walls were only beauty, music, and endless youth. No one grew old, no one got sick. No one died, at least that's what he was meant to believe. But perfection has a strange side effect. It makes the heart restless, because somewhere deep down, even when everything looks flawless, there's a quiet whisper asking, "Is this all there is?" One morning, Siddhartha convinced his charioteer to take him beyond the gates. What he saw that day shattered the illusion of a perfect world. The first sight was an old man, his back bent, his skin wrinkled, his steps trembling. Siddhartha had never seen age before. "Why does he walk like that?" he asked. The driver answered softly, "Because all bodies change, even yours, my prince." Those words followed him like an echo. The next day, he went out again and saw a man lying by the road, breathing heavily, his face pale with pain. "What's wrong with him?" "He is sick, my lord. No one escapes sickness." Days later, he ventured out once more and saw a lifeless body carried by mourners. He froze. "What has happened to that man?" "He has died," the driver said. "And so will all who are born." The final sight was different. It wasn't suffering, it was serenity. a monk walking barefoot under the same sun, his eyes calm, his smile quiet, moving through the chaos of the market as if nothing could disturb him. Siddhartha stared at him for a long time. "Who is he?" he asked. "A seeker," the driver said. "One who has left everything to find peace that does not depend on circumstance." That moment became the beginning of his journey. When I first heard this story, I used to think it was about something ancient, something far removed from modern life. But then I realized we all live in our own palaces. Our walls are made of convenience, technology, and constant distraction. We hide from discomfort, avoid talking about death, scroll past pain as if it only happens to others. We convince ourselves that if we keep everything perfect, we'll be safe from change. But deep down, we know no wall is high enough to keep life from happening. The four sights are not just scenes from an old story. They are mirrors. Each one invites us to face what we usually turn away from. Old age reminds us that nothing stays young forever, and that beauty isn't found in smoothness, but in gentleness. Sickness reminds us that even the strongest body needs care, and that compassion begins with seeing our shared fragility. Death reminds us that everything we hold is borrowed. We don't truly own anything, not even the breath we take. And that's not a tragedy, it's an awakening. And the fourth sight, the calm seeker, reminds us that peace is possible even while the world keeps changing. Think about your own four sights. Maybe it's the first time you saw your parents grow old, the day you realized a loved one was gone, or the moment you met someone who radiated peace without saying a word. Each of these experiences, if we let them, becomes a small doorway to wisdom. Most of us spend our lives running from those doorways. We chase pleasure, success, recognition, anything that keeps us distracted. We build walls of entertainment and call it comfort. But the Buddha's story whispers something different. The only real safety is in seeing things as they are. When we stop pretending that life should always be easy, we stop suffering twice. The first arrow is pain. It's part of being alive. The second arrow is resistance, the belief that pain shouldn't exist. The Buddha's journey began the moment he let go of that resistance. He didn't run from the old man, the sick man, or the dying man. He saw them, and in seeing them, he saw himself. He realized that we are not separate from the suffering we fear. We are part of it, and by understanding it, we can find compassion big enough to hold it all. That's the beginning of awakening, not a miracle, not a promise of eternal happiness, but a clear seeing. Everything changes. Nothing is owned, and yet, in that impermanence, life glows even more brightly. Because when you truly know that everything passes, you begin to love more deeply, forgive more easily, and worry a little less about the things that won't last. So maybe the four sights were never meant for a prince alone. Maybe they are for you, for each of us living in the rush of the modern world, forgetting that even amidst all our noise and technology, we are still fragile beings under the same sky. You don't have to leave your home or give up everything to understand what Siddhartha saw. You just have to open your eyes to the wrinkles on your mother's hands, the warmth of your child's laugh, the silence between heartbeats that reminds you. This too is life, passing before you like a river of light. When we can look at impermanence without fear, life stops being a race to control the future and becomes a practice of gratitude for the present. That's what the young prince realized, that no palace can protect us from loss, but awareness can free us from fear. So tonight, as you listen, breathe in softly and remember, you were never meant to live untouched by change. You were meant to be touched through it, to grow gentler, wiser, more awake with every wave that passes. If this story stirs something quiet in your heart, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, or simply close your eyes and whisper thank you for this breath. Each small act of awareness helps peace find its way to you and through you. And now, as our journey deepens, we move to the heart of the Buddha's first discovery, why we suffer, and how that understanding becomes the seed of freedom. The first noble truth. The Buddha's first teaching after his awakening wasn't about miracles or enlightenment. It wasn't a promise of eternal happiness, nor a command to be pure or holy. It was something far simpler and infinitely more human. He said, "There is suffering." At first, it sounds like a sad truth, but in reality, it's a doorway. The first and most honest one we can ever walk through. Because the moment we admit that life can hurt, we stop pretending that we're supposed to be unbreakable. We all have our own versions of pain. For some, it's the emptiness that lingers after love fades. For others, it's the quiet grief of watching parents age, or the loneliness that hides inside success. Pain wears many faces: anxiety, guilt, loss, restlessness, fear, and yet most of us are taught from a young age to hide it. We grow up hearing, "Don't cry, be strong, everything happens for a reason." So we learn to smile while our hearts ache, to laugh at our own sadness, to keep moving as if motion could drown out meaning. But denial doesn't heal. It only buries what's asking to be seen. I once met a woman named Claire. She looked like the picture of composure, well-dressed, confident, full of plans. If you saw her, you'd think she had it all figured out. But one night, after everyone else had gone home, she whispered, "I think there's something wrong with me. I have a good life, but I feel so empty. It's like I'm living underwater, watching my life happen from behind glass." There was nothing wrong with her. She was simply experiencing what the Buddha called the universal ache of being human. That space between what is and what we wish could be. We all know that feeling. It's the ache of wanting permanence in a world that changes every second. It's the sting of wanting control in a life that keeps slipping through our fingers. Claire's story isn't unusual. We all try to fix our suffering, to patch it, hide it, or outthink it. We chase happiness as if it were something we could purchase. And when we finally touch it, we cling so tightly that it begins to fade. We tell ourselves that if we work harder, earn more, or love better, then the ache will go away. But it doesn't. It simply wears a new disguise. The Buddha never said that life is only suffering. He said that suffering exists, and that seeing it clearly is the first step to freedom. Because when we stop running from pain, we stop giving it power over us. Imagine a child lost in the woods. The moment you shine a light on them, they stop being terrifying. they become visible. That's what awareness does to pain. It doesn't erase it, but it makes it understandable, softer, and less lonely. Think of a river after a storm. Muddy, chaotic, impossible to see through. If you keep stirring the water, it never clears. But if you let it rest, the mud slowly sinks. And what once looked dark becomes transparent again. That's what happens when you stop denying your emotions. They settle, they teach, they heal. Suffering isn't a mistake. It's a messenger. It's the voice of the heart saying, something here needs care. It asks for gentleness, not judgment. And the sooner we listen, the sooner we stop repeating the same cycles of pain. When Claire finally stopped pretending she was fine, something unexpected happened. She didn't fall apart. She fell open. Tears came, not from weakness, but from release. I thought sadness meant I was broken, she said. But maybe it just means I'm alive. That single sentence carried more truth than all her years of pretending. You see, the first noble truth isn't about despair. It's about honesty, a kind of fierce compassion that looks pain in the eyes and says, I see you. When you say those words to yourself, when you stop resisting your feelings and simply witness them, you stop being their prisoner. You become their guardian, and that changes everything, because beneath every sorrow lies something sacred, the proof that your heart is still open enough to care. In modern life, we've replaced this wisdom with the illusion of control. We curate our happiness online, hide our fears under busyness, and label any discomfort as failure. But the truth is, the moments we call broken are often the ones that make us real. You cannot love deeply without also being vulnerable to loss. You cannot grow without shedding parts of yourself. You cannot truly live without touching impermanence. The Buddha's first truth invites us to stop bargaining with life, to stop saying, I'll be happy when, and to start whispering, I can be at peace even while this hurts. When you stop running, something miraculous happens. Pain transforms into presence, grief becomes gratitude, loneliness becomes a doorway to connection. Not because the world suddenly changes, but because you finally stop demanding that it should. It takes courage to feel, real courage, to sit quietly with sadness, to hold your fear without fixing it, to breathe even when your chest feels heavy. But this courage is the beginning of freedom, because nothing can control a person who no longer fears their own emotions. Every time you allow yourself to feel, you're honoring the same truth the Buddha saw under the Bodhi tree, that life, in all its messiness, is still precious, that even suffering, when held with awareness, can open the heart to compassion. Pain says, pay attention. It asks you to notice how fragile and beautiful everything is. The way laughter and sorrow can share the same breath. The way a single tear can cleanse what years of denial could not. So if you are hurting tonight, don't rush to push it away. Don't label it as failure. Instead, place a hand on your heart and whisper, this too belongs. Feel how your breath moves beneath your palm. That is life. Imperfect, fleeting, and sacred. The ache in your chest is proof that you are still willing to love. The Buddha once said that understanding suffering is the beginning of wisdom, not escaping it, not ignoring it, just seeing it clearly. When we do, the world softens. We stop trying to make life something it's not and start noticing the quiet beauty of what is, because every tear, every loss, every sleepless night is an invitation, not to despair, but to awaken. So breathe, my friend. Let the truth of being human settle like gentle rain. You are not broken. You are simply alive, and life includes everything. If this story brings you a little understanding, pause for a moment, like this video, or share it with someone who might need a reminder tonight. Your simple act of awareness helps peace travel further, and as we move forward, we'll explore the next truth, how suffering multiplies when we fight it, and how learning to let go of the second arrow can open the heart to peace beyond pain. The second arrow, pain, is part of life. Suffering, however, is what we add on top of it. The Buddha once explained it with a simple image. When life hits you with one arrow, that's pain. But when you pick up another arrow and stab yourself with it again, that's suffering. The first arrow is what happens to us. The second arrow is what we tell ourselves about it. A few years ago, a man named Daniel lost his job. It wasn't his fault. The company downsized, and he happened to be one of the many who were let go. At first, he felt the natural sting of loss, the first arrow. But then, his mind began its endless commentary. I'm a failure. My career is over. I'll never recover. Each thought was another arrow, self-inflicted. He couldn't sleep. He replayed the moment his manager called him in, the sound of his own voice trying to sound calm, the pity in his co-workers' eyes. Even weeks later, when there was food on the table and friends offering help, his mind kept whispering, "You should have done better." That's the second arrow, the one made of guilt, fear, and shame. It hurts more than the first because it never stops replaying. And unlike the first arrow, it's entirely optional. We all do this, don't we? Something goes wrong, and instead of allowing pain to move through us, we trap it with words. We analyze it, judge it, and turn it into an identity. A friend forgets to call, and we decide we're unimportant. A relationship ends, and we decide we're unlovable. Someone criticizes us, and we decide we're not enough. It's as if we believe pain itself isn't painful enough, so we punish ourselves for feeling it. The Buddha's wisdom was not a promise to avoid the first arrow. No one can. He was teaching us how to stop firing the second, because the second arrow is made of resistance. It's our refusal to accept that life includes discomfort. In the modern world, the second arrow often looks like perfectionism. We tell ourselves we should have been stronger, calmer, wiser. We say, "I should have seen it coming," or "I shouldn't feel this way." But should is the language of the second arrow. It keeps us stuck in the story instead of the moment. When we believe we must be happy all the time, we turn even ordinary sadness into failure. And the more we fight our emotions, the tighter they hold on. As the saying goes, what you resist persists. There's a small story from Thailand about a farmer who fell into a ditch one night. Instead of climbing out, he sat there scolding himself. "Why was I so careless? Why didn't I bring a lantern? How could I be so stupid? He shouted for hours, blaming himself, until a passing monk heard him. The monk looked down, smiled gently and said, "Friend, the ditch is already deep enough. Don't dig it deeper with your words." Daniel eventually learned this lesson too. One evening, after months of self-criticism, he went for a walk. The sun was setting, painting the sky in quiet orange. He remembered a sentence he'd read somewhere. "You cannot start the next chapter if you keep rereading the last one." So he stopped walking, placed a hand on his chest, and said aloud, "I lost my job. That hurt. But I don't have to lose myself too." It was a small moment, but it was the first time he'd spoken to himself with kindness, and that single act began to heal the wound. That's the heart of this teaching. The first arrow is unavoidable. The second arrow is a choice. Life will bring disappointment, illness, aging, loss. That's part of being alive. But the stories we attach to those moments are within our control. We can either feed them or free them. When pain arises, instead of reacting, we can pause. Take one conscious breath. Name what's happening. This is hurt. Not I am broken. Not this will last forever. Just this is hurt. That tiny shift from identity to awareness is the space where peace begins. You can practice it right now. Think of something that's been bothering you. A conversation that didn't go well. A disappointment you still replay. Notice the first arrow, what actually happened. Then notice the second arrow, what you've been telling yourself since. Maybe you've been saying, "It's my fault," or "They should have treated me better," or "I'll never get over this." Take a breath and let those words fall away. They are not the truth. They are the echo. The truth is much simpler. You were hurt and you survived. Now your only task is to let the wound breathe. This is what mindfulness really means. Not controlling thoughts, but seeing them for what they are. Temporary visitors, not permanent residents. It takes time to stop firing the second arrow. The mind is clever. It loves drama. It wants closure, justice, validation. But every moment you choose gentleness over judgment, you loosen the habit of self-punishment. Remember, compassion isn't just something we offer to others. It begins with how we speak to ourselves when things don't go the way we hoped. When you make a mistake, instead of "I'm useless," try "I'm learning." When you lose something you loved, instead of "I'll never recover," try "I'm grieving because it mattered." This simple kindness disarms the second arrow. It doesn't erase pain, but it keeps it from turning into suffering. As the Buddha taught, we can't stop the waves, but we can learn to surf. Pain is the wave, unpredictable, powerful, real. Suffering is when we fight it, forgetting that we can float. So when life hits you next, when you're misunderstood, rejected, or hurt, pause before picking up that second arrow. Place your hand over your heart. Feel the warmth beneath your skin. Say softly, "This hurts," and that's okay. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. Because every time you choose presence over punishment, you step closer to freedom. Not the freedom from feeling, but the freedom to feel without fear. If this story helped you breathe a little easier, pause for a moment and like this video. or share it with someone who might still be holding their own second arrow. Every act of awareness helps another heart heal. Next, we'll explore what happens when we learn not only to face pain, but to see through it, to watch the mind itself, like clouds drifting across a sky that never changes. Watching the storm. The storm began in her chest before it ever touched the sky. Emily sat at her desk, staring at the same email she'd already read 5 times. Her boss's words weren't cruel, just curt, but they sparked something inside her, a familiar spiral of fear. Did I mess up? Am I falling behind again? Why can't I handle pressure like everyone else? Her heart pounded. Her breath grew shallow. She minimized the screen, opened it again, and felt the invisible storm gathering. It wasn't just about the email. It never was. It was every voice from her past whispering, "You're not enough." She wanted to push the feeling away, to drown it in work, in music, in noise. But she remembered something she had heard once in a meditation talk. Don't fight the storm, watch it. So, for the first time, she didn't run. She closed her laptop, placed a hand on her chest, and whispered to herself, "Let's just see." We all have our storms. The panic that rises out of nowhere, the anger that surprises us, the sadness that visits when life seems perfectly fine. Most of us spend our lives trying to control the weather inside our minds, chasing calm, fearing clouds. But the truth is, you are not the storm. You are the sky that holds it. That's the quiet miracle of awareness. When you stop identifying with every emotion that passes through you, something within you begins to relax. Imagine standing on a beach as dark clouds roll in. The wind howls, rain lashes your face, thunder roars, and for a moment, it feels like the world is ending. But then, hours later, the storm fades, and the sky clears, untouched. The clouds come and go, but the sky never leaves. Your mind works the same way. Fear, anger, jealousy, grief, they're all temporary weather. They rise, they move, they dissolve. What remains is the awareness that notices them, the silent watcher behind every thought. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes when we see things as they are." He didn't mean indifference. He meant seeing without the storm of judgment. When a wave of anxiety comes, notice it. Don't call it bad. Don't call yourself weak. Just see it. Honestly. Gently. In one of his teachings, a monk compared the mind to a pond. If you throw a stone into it, the surface ripples. If you jump in and thrash about trying to stop the ripples, the water only gets murkier. But if you sit quietly on the shore and watch, the pond settles on its own. Awareness works the same way. When you allow emotions to exist without interference, they find their own balance. The problem isn't that we feel too much. It's that we believe every thought we think. We mistake weather for climate, waves for the ocean, moods for identity. That's why the practice isn't about clearing your mind. It's about remembering that you were never the storm to begin with. I once knew a man named David who lived with constant anger. He wasn't cruel. He was just always on edge. Traffic, slow Wi-Fi, long lines. Everything set him off. He told me, "I don't know what's wrong with me. I explode and regret it every time." So we tried a simple experiment. The next time he felt anger rise, instead of reacting, he was to silently say, "Hello, anger." The first few times, he laughed at how strange it felt. But soon, he noticed something. When he greeted the emotion instead of fighting it, it softened. It still came, but it passed faster, like a storm that knows it's being seen. After a few weeks, he said, "It's funny. I used to think anger was who I was. Now I see it's just a visitor." That's the shift from "I am angry" to "anger is here." From "I am sad" to "sadness is visiting." From "I am broken" to "pain is passing through." Such small changes in language, but they open vast spaces in the heart. The Buddha taught this not as theory, but as a way to stop being a victim of the mind's weather. He saw that when we stop clinging to every emotion, we begin to see clearly. Clarity is peace, not because storms stop coming, but because we stop mistaking ourselves for the storm. It's the same when clouds cover the moon. The moon doesn't disappear. It's just hidden for a while. Your calm, your wisdom, your goodness, they never leave you. They're just behind the passing clouds of thought. Next time you feel lost in a wave of emotion, try this simple practice. Pause. Take one slow breath in. Notice what's happening inside your body, the tightness in your chest, the trembling in your hands, the quick beat of your heart. Say quietly, "This is what a storm feels like." Then breathe out. Let it pass without pushing it away. You'll start to notice that even the biggest feelings are made of moments, tiny sensations rising and falling. When you stop naming them as good or bad, they lose their grip. That's what mindfulness really means. Not control, but curiosity. Not suppression, but space. When you watch the storm, you start to realize that nothing in it lasts. The day after her storm, Emily sat by her window with a cup of tea. The morning light spilled through the blinds. She remembered how intense the anxiety had felt the night before, how real it seemed, how heavy. Now it was gone, like thunder that echoes and fades. She smiled softly and whispered, "So that's all it was, just weather." And in that moment, something subtle shifted inside her. It wasn't the end of fear, but the beginning of freedom. Because freedom isn't the absence of storms. It's the knowing that you can watch them come and go without losing the sky inside you. So if tonight your thoughts feel loud, if your chest feels tight and your mind refuses to rest, remember, you don't have to fight it. You just have to see it. Let your awareness be the quiet sky that welcomes every cloud. Let your breath be the wind that reminds them where to go. And trust that no matter how strong the storm seems, the sky, your true self, remains vast and untouched. If this story brings you a moment of calm, take a breath, like this video, or share it with someone who might be standing in their own storm tonight. Your small act of awareness becomes a ripple of peace. And as we continue, we'll move from watching the storm to learning how to pause before it begins, to discover the quiet power hidden in a single mindful breath. The power of a pause. The city was still half asleep when Maya's day began. Her alarm buzzed at 5:30 a.m., and before her feet even touched the floor, her mind had already run a marathon. Emails to send, clients to call, traffic to beat, bills to pay. By the time she reached the kitchen, her body was moving, but her spirit was nowhere to be found. Maya worked as a lawyer in a high-rise building downtown. Every day was a storm of deadlines and decisions. She prided herself on being the one who gets things done. But lately, even small mistakes felt unbearable. Her heart raced before meetings. Her mind replayed conversations long after they ended. And at night, she lay awake counting worries instead of sheep. One morning, while rushing to court, she found herself stuck in traffic. Again, the red light stretched endlessly ahead. Her jaw clenched. Her hands tightened on the steering wheel. She muttered under her breath, "Why does everything take so long?" In that moment, something inside her snapped. Not in anger, but in exhaustion. She looked around. Hundreds of cars, each with someone inside, each person probably living the same small storm of impatience. And she thought, what if this isn't life happening to me? What if this is life asking me to stop? She turned off the radio. For the first time in years, she just sat there. No noise, no multitasking. She took one slow breath, then another, and in the middle of honking cars and blinking lights, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Stillness. We live in a world allergic to pausing. We rush from one task to another, scroll through silence, fill every empty space with noise. We say we're afraid of wasting time, but deep down, we're afraid of meeting ourselves in the quiet. Because when the noise stops, the truth begins to speak. And sometimes that truth feels too honest, too raw. But here's the paradox. It's in those very pauses that peace is born. A pause doesn't mean doing nothing. It means coming back to what's real. In Buddhism, the breath is often called the bridge between the body and the mind. When we're anxious, we breathe fast. When we're calm, we breathe deep. Each breath is an opportunity to return home. Maya didn't know this was a form of meditation. She just knew that for the first time, she wasn't trying to fix anything. She wasn't planning, controlling, or escaping. She was simply being. As she watched the cars move again, she whispered to herself, "I think I forgot how to breathe." It sounds small, too small to matter, but that single pause became a seed of change. The next day, she paused again, before answering an email that made her defensive, then before reacting to a co-worker's complaint, then before reaching for her phone when loneliness appeared. Each pause was like a doorway back to herself, tiny, quiet, ordinary. But within those few seconds, she began to see what the Buddha called the space between stimulus and response. Something happens. Someone says something. A feeling rises. A thought appears. And without awareness, we react. We yell. We worry. We judge. We let the wave carry us away. But if we pause, even for the length of a single breath, we give ourselves a choice. That's the power of awareness. It doesn't stop the waves, but it allows us to surf instead of drown. Pausing isn't weakness. It's wisdom disguised as stillness. The mind says, do something, but the heart whispers, wait, listen. Every pause is a tiny act of rebellion against a world that wants you constantly reacting. It's a statement that says, I am not my hurry. I am not my fear. It's choosing presence over panic, clarity over chaos. Try it right now, wherever you are. Take one conscious breath. Inhale slowly through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Feel your shoulders drop, your jaw unclench. Notice that the world is still turning, even while you stop. That's the secret Maya discovered. Life doesn't fall apart when you pause. It begins to make sense. Over time, her pauses grew longer. She started arriving at work 10 minutes early, not to prepare more, but to sit in her car with her eyes closed, breathing, watching thoughts drift by like clouds. Her co-workers noticed the difference before she did. You seem calmer lately, one said. Maya smiled. I just stopped fighting time. Because that's what pausing really is. Making peace with time instead of wrestling with it. You can't slow down the clock, but you can stop measuring your worth by its ticking. The pause reminds us that every moment is already enough, that we don't have to chase peace. We can pause, and it finds us. Of course, not every pause feels peaceful. Sometimes when we stop, old pain surfaces. Loneliness speaks louder, regrets visit, but that's okay. The pause isn't meant to be perfect. It's meant to be honest. Every emotion that rises in stillness is just asking to be seen. The point is not to silence it, but to welcome it, to say, I see you, and you can rest here too. That's why even one breath taken with awareness can change the whole direction of a day. It's like touching the surface of a rushing river and realizing that beneath the current, the water is perfectly still. The Buddha once said, if you can learn to pause, you can learn to live. Each pause is an invitation to step out of autopilot, to stop chasing the next moment, to simply arrive, because life isn't something waiting ahead of you. It's here, in this inhale, in this quiet heartbeat, in this still space between one thought and the next. So if your days feel rushed, if your mind feels crowded, try giving yourself the smallest gift, a pause, not forever, just long enough to feel the ground beneath you, the air entering your lungs, the weight of this single, miraculous moment. And if this pause brings you even a breath of peace, take another, and maybe, as a gentle act of gratitude, like this video, or share it with someone who needs to remember to stop. Because in a world that moves too fast, your stillness is not a weakness, it's medicine. And as we continue, we'll explore how the simplest things, like eating an orange or walking slowly, can become acts of awakening when done with full awareness. The orange teaching. The rain had just stopped when the retreat bell rang. Participants slowly made their way to the dining hall, a simple wooden building surrounded by trees still dripping from the storm. Maya was there too. It had been 3 days since she arrived at the mindfulness retreat, hoping to quiet her busy mind. But even here, in this peaceful place, her thoughts buzzed like 1,000 bees. She sat down at the long table. In front of her was a bowl of rice, a few vegetables, and an orange, bright, fresh, and perfectly round. Everyone around her ate in silence. The only sounds were the clinking of spoons and the soft patter of raindrops sliding off the roof. Maya peeled the orange distractedly. Her mind was already somewhere else, thinking about the mountain of emails waiting for her, about whether this retreat was even working, about how her friends would laugh if they saw her trying to eat enlightenment. Then, from the other end of the room, a calm voice spoke. "Dear friends," said the teacher, smiling gently, "have you ever truly eaten an orange?" Maya looked up. Of course she had. Everyone had. But the way he asked made her pause. He picked up the fruit, held it up to the light, and continued. "When you eat an orange without presence, it's just habit. Your hand moves, your mouth chews, but you are already lost in thought. The orange is there, but you are not. And when you are not there, even the sweetest fruit turns tasteless." He slowly peeled the orange, piece by piece, each motion unhurried, reverent, as if the fruit were a small sun glowing in his hands. "The next time you eat an orange," he said softly, "try eating it with your full awareness. Feel the texture of the peel, notice the scent, see how the light dances on its surface. Take one slice, look at it as if it were your first orange, and when you place it on your tongue, be there, fully there. Don't rush to swallow. Let the sweetness bloom. Let the moment bloom." The room was silent. Even the rain seemed to listen. Something in Maya's chest loosened. She picked up her own orange again. This time, she really looked. The skin was rough, warm from her touch. The smell was fresh and alive, citrus and sunlight. She tore off a small piece of peel and felt the tiny spray of juice mist against her fingers. Then she placed a segment in her mouth, and for the first time in years, she actually tasted it. The juice burst like a small miracle, bright, sharp, and sweet, and with it came something unexpected. Tears. She didn't know why she was crying. Maybe because in that one slice of orange, she realized how much of her life she had missed. We live surrounded by wonders and rarely notice them. We rush through meals, through conversations, through whole seasons, forgetting that life isn't something to finish, but something to taste. Mindfulness is not about escaping the world. It's about arriving fully in it, to feel, to see, to touch, to listen. It's the art of being awake to the simple. You can spend years searching for happiness in books, in success, in other people. But often, joy hides in something as ordinary as peeling an orange. Because joy isn't created by what you experience, but by how present you are for it. When you eat without awareness, you consume the food, but not the nourishment. When you walk without awareness, you move but don't travel. When you love without awareness, you reach for connection, but feel only emptiness. Presence turns every act into a prayer. After the meal, Maya went for a walk in the garden. Everything seemed to shimmer differently. The air, the leaves, the faint hum of insects. She noticed how each drop of rain clung to a leaf before falling, how the earth smelled rich and alive. For the first time in years, she wasn't living in the next moment. She was simply here. She realized that awareness doesn't demand hours of meditation or silence. It begins with a single decision: to stop missing your own life. It's easy to think of mindfulness as something grand or spiritual, but it's really just love in its purest form. Love for the present moment, love for the small, love for being alive. The teacher's voice returned to her mind. When you hold an orange, hold the miracle that it is. The sunlight, the rain, the farmer, the earth, they all live inside it. When you eat it with gratitude, you eat the whole universe. She smiled. Maybe that was the real secret. That peace was never hiding in distant philosophies. It was right here, in something as small as an orange, waiting to be noticed. The Buddha once said, "If you are fully present for one breath, you have already touched nirvana." That's what this practice teaches us. Awakening doesn't happen someday. It happens now, in the breath, in the bite, in the smallest act of awareness. So tonight, if you find yourself rushing through dinner, through chores, through thoughts, try this. Slow down. Pick up whatever is in front of you, a cup of tea, a spoon, a piece of fruit, and look at it as if it were the first time. Notice the color, the texture, the weight. Take one mindful breath before you move. That's the orange teaching. The reminder that every moment is edible, if only you stop to taste it. Later that evening, as the retreat ended, Maya walked past the teacher and bowed. He smiled and said, "Did you enjoy the orange?" She laughed softly, eyes shining. "I think," she said, "I finally tasted my life." He nodded. That's all mindfulness is, tasting your own life, one bite at a time. So, as you listen now, perhaps you can feel the same invitation. To come home to this breath, this heartbeat, this exact second. It doesn't matter where you are or what's happening. All you need is this moment and the willingness to taste it fully. If this story brings you a quiet smile, take a slow breath like this video, or share it with someone who rushes too fast to notice the sweetness of life. Your small act of awareness is how peace begins, not later, not someday, but right here, in the ordinary miracle of now. Facts versus stories. The mind is a master storyteller. It can turn a single sentence into a heartbreak, a passing glance into rejection, a silence into a storm. Sometimes what hurts us most isn't what happens. It's the story we tell ourselves about what happens. One afternoon, a woman named Jenna sat at her desk, staring at a message from her friend that simply said, "Hey, can we talk later?" That was all. 6 words. No tone, no context, no explanation. But within minutes, her mind had written a novel. "She's upset with me. Did I say something wrong? Maybe she doesn't want to be friends anymore." Her heart started to race. She replayed every conversation from the past week, searching for proof of something that might not even exist. She couldn't focus, couldn't breathe properly. By the time her friend finally called that evening, Jenna was already in tears. The reason? Her friend just wanted advice on a new job. There was never a problem. We all do this, don't we? Something small happens. Someone looks away. Someone forgets to reply. Someone uses a tone that feels different. And suddenly, we're spinning stories. Our imagination fills the silence faster than truth ever could. But what if we learn to pause between the fact and the fiction? What if we could catch the mind before it paints an entire tragedy over one blank page? That's what mindfulness teaches us. To see the space between what happens and what we add to it. The Buddha once said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." He wasn't speaking metaphorically. He was pointing to how our thoughts create entire worlds. There are two layers to every experience, the fact and the story. The fact is pure, simple, neutral. The sky is cloudy. My boss said no. My partner hasn't texted back. The story is everything that follows. It's going to rain all day. He doesn't value me. She must be losing interest. And the more we believe the story, the more we suffer, not because of reality, but because of imagination. I once heard a monk describe this with a beautiful metaphor. He said, "When a mosquito bites you, that's the fact. When you keep scratching the itch until it bleeds, that's the story. The fact is momentary. The story is endless. And the mind, left unattended, can turn a single itch into a lifelong wound." Think of how many times you've hurt yourself this way. Maybe someone forgot your birthday, and instead of asking, you told yourself they didn't care. Maybe a co-worker gave short answers, and you decided they didn't respect you. Maybe you saw a post online that made you feel left out, and suddenly you believed you didn't belong. Each of these moments begins as a fact, small, neutral, passing. But our minds, craving meaning, can't leave it alone. We add color, context, and fear until it becomes something else entirely. And then we suffer, not from life, but from our own storytelling. The Buddha's wisdom wasn't to stop thinking. It was to stop believing every thought. He invited us to become witnesses instead of actors. To step back and say, this is my mind creating stories again. When you do that, something magical happens. You begin to see how often your pain is optional. The thought still comes, but it loses its authority. It becomes a cloud drifting across the sky instead of a storm swallowing the world. Let's practice this for a moment. Think of a recent situation that upset you. Maybe someone ignored a message or criticized your work or didn't include you in something important. Now separate the two layers. The fact, what actually happened. Be specific, simple, objective. For example, they didn't reply to my message. The story. What did your mind add? Maybe they don't care about me, or I must have done something wrong. See the difference? One is what happened. The other is a narrative. The fact ends in a period. The story never stops. Now take a breath and ask yourself, do I know this for sure? Most of the time, the answer is no. That moment of realization, that gap between fact and story, is where peace begins. Maya once asked her teacher, "How do I stop believing the stories my mind tells?" The teacher smiled. "You don't need to stop them. You just need to recognize them." He picked up a glass of water and said, "This glass is clear until I stir it." When the mind spins stories, it's like stirring mud into water. But if you stop stirring, the mud settles on its own. That's what awareness does. It lets the stories settle. It doesn't fight them, it outlives them. Over time, Maya began practicing this in small ways. When her boss frowned, she no longer jumped to conclusions. When her partner was quiet, she waited before assuming something was wrong. When her mind whispered fears, she whispered back, "Just a story." The stories didn't stop, but they stopped owning her. She found freedom not in changing others, but in watching her own thoughts pass without judgment. That's the secret of peace. Not controlling the world, but understanding your mind's habit of storytelling. When you stop feeding every thought, you discover how quiet the world can be. It's easy to confuse mindfulness with perfection, as if a peaceful person never thinks negative thoughts. But true mindfulness isn't about having no thoughts. It's about knowing they're not all true. Even now, as you listen, your mind might be weaving little stories about your day, your past, your future. That's what minds do. You don't have to shut it down. You just have to smile and say, "Thank you, story. I see you." And in that smile, the spell breaks. You come home, not to the story, but to the simple fact of being alive in this moment. So tonight, if your thoughts start spinning again, pause. Take one breath in, one breath out. Ask yourself, what's the fact and what's the story? Let the story go. Keep only what's real. And watch how much lighter life feels when you stop believing everything your mind says. If this story helped you find a little clarity, take a moment to breathe with me, and maybe like this video, or share it with someone who's been lost in their own stories too. Because every time one person learns to pause, the world becomes a little quieter, a little freer, a little more awake. The drunken monkey. They say the human mind is like a monkey, always swinging from branch to branch, never still for more than a moment. But the Buddha went further. He said the mind is like a drunken monkey stung by bees. It doesn't just swing. It screams, trembles, and runs in circles, desperate to find relief, yet never realizing the cage it's trapped in is made of its own thoughts. Maya laughed when her teacher first said that. She thought it was just a metaphor, something poetic. But one night, sitting in meditation, she finally understood. It had been a long day. Her phone buzzed with work messages until late evening. Even after turning it off, her mind refused to rest. She sat on her cushion, closed her eyes, and within seconds, 1,000 thoughts came charging in. Her to-do list, the memory of an awkward conversation, a sudden craving for dessert, then a random song lyric from years ago. It was chaos, a circus of noise behind her eyelids. She sighed, opened her eyes, and muttered, "I can't meditate. My mind won't stop." Her teacher, an old monk with kind eyes, smiled. "Good," he said. "Now you've met the monkey." That night she couldn't forget his words. Meet the monkey. What did it mean? The next day, during the morning session, he explained, "The goal isn't to silence the monkey. It's to stop giving it more bananas." The room chuckled, but he continued gently. When you chase every thought, argue with it, believe it, or try to push it away, you're feeding it. The more you feed it, the louder it gets. But if you simply watch it, patiently, kindly, it will tire itself out. He picked up a cup of tea and held it up to the sunlight. See this tea? If I stir it constantly, it stays cloudy. But if I set it down and leave it alone, it becomes clear again on its own. Maya felt something click inside her. The monkey wasn't her enemy. It was just scared, overstimulated, confused, and thirsty for attention. We all have that monkey inside us. It worries about things that haven't happened. It replays mistakes that no longer matter. It leaps between past and future so quickly that it forgets to notice the calm ground beneath it. This is why we check our phones 100 times a day, why we scroll, refresh, replay, rehearse. We call it distraction, but really it's the monkey, searching for something to hold on to in a world that won't stop spinning. And the more we try to control it, the more it rebels. Try telling your mind, stop thinking, and you'll instantly think 10 new thoughts about how to stop thinking. That's the trap. The mind cannot calm itself by force, only by understanding. So how do you tame the drunken monkey? Start by noticing when it appears. You don't need a meditation cushion or incense. You just need awareness. When you realize your mind has wandered, instead of scolding it, say softly, thinking. That's all. No judgment, just acknowledgement. It's like gently taking a monkey by the hand and leading it back to its branch. Each time you notice, you strengthen your awareness. And awareness, not control, is what tames the mind. One day, during lunch, Maya sat outside under a tree. The air was warm, the breeze soft. She decided to practice the lesson. For the first few minutes, her thoughts bounced everywhere. Memories, plans, random worries. But instead of fighting them, she watched them. She labeled them quietly. Planning, remembering, worrying. Each label was like placing a name tag on a wild animal. It made the creature less frightening. After a while, her thoughts slowed down, not because she forced them to, but because she stopped feeding them energy. In that silence, she heard the rustling of leaves, the distant hum of bees, and for the first time in years, the sound of her own steady breathing. It wasn't perfect peace, but it was real peace, the kind that doesn't depend on the world being quiet, only on her being kind to herself. The Buddha once said that the mind, when untamed, is like a thief in the night, stealing our joy, our time, our presence. But once trained, it becomes our greatest ally, clear, creative, compassionate. You don't need to get rid of the monkey. You just need to teach it how to rest. And rest begins with forgiveness. Forgive yourself for wandering. Forgive yourself for being human. Even monks get distracted. The difference is, they smile when it happens. Every time you bring your attention back to the breath, you're whispering to the monkey, it's okay. You can sit down now. Try this. Close your eyes for a moment. Take one slow breath. As you inhale, imagine the monkey climbing up a tree. As you exhale, imagine it finding a comfortable branch. Feel it settling down, yawning, growing quiet. The breath is that branch, strong, steady, always here. No matter how far the monkey jumps, the branch remains. You don't have to hold on to every thought. Let them come, let them go. Let them dance across your awareness like children playing in the yard. You are not the children. You are the yard. Over time, the monkey learns. It realizes that there is nothing to chase, nothing to fix, nothing missing in this moment. It stops shouting and starts listening. And that's when something extraordinary happens. you begin to hear life again. The hum of the fridge, the rhythm of your own heart, the music hidden in ordinary sounds. The world hasn't changed. You have. You've stopped living in the storm of thoughts and started living in the stillness beneath them. Later, when the retreat ended, Maya's teacher asked, "So, how's your monkey?" She smiled. "Still drunk," she said, "but a little less loud." He laughed softly. "That's progress," he replied. "Peace doesn't come from silence. It comes from understanding noise." So if your mind feels wild tonight, if thoughts swing, shout, and scatter, don't try to cage them. Just watch, let them dance, and breathe, because the sky doesn't mind when clouds move. It just keeps being sky, and you too can keep being you, clear, vast, and untouched beneath the noise. If this story brought you a smile or a sense of calm, pause here, like this video, or share it with someone who might be fighting their own restless mind. Because when one person learns to rest their monkey, the whole forest grows quieter. The body remembers. It began with a simple stretch, nothing special, just a slow twist at the end of a yoga class. But as Sarah leaned into the pose, something unexpected happened. Her throat tightened, her eyes burned, and before she could understand why, tears spilled down her cheeks. She wasn't sad. At least she didn't think she was. It had been years since she'd cried. The room was quiet except for soft music, and there she was, lying on her mat, body trembling, heart breaking open for no apparent reason. Her instructor, a kind woman with silver hair, simply placed a gentle hand on her shoulder and said, "It's okay. The body remembers." Those words stayed with Sarah long after the class ended. She had spent most of her life living from the neck up, thinking, analyzing, planning, worrying. Her body was something she used, not something she listened to. But that day, she realized, the body doesn't forget what the mind ignores. Every tension, every unspoken grief, every moment she said, "I'm fine," when she wasn't. They hadn't disappeared. They had simply moved inward, settling into muscles, tissues, breath. The body had become a library of everything she never said. We tend to think of healing as something that happens in the mind. A new thought, a new belief, a new insight. But often the first step isn't thinking differently. It's feeling what we've refused to feel. The Buddha once said, "To understand the mind, observe the body. To understand the body, calm the mind." They are not two separate worlds. They are mirrors reflecting one another. When we suppress emotions, the body becomes the stage where they continue to perform. Anxiety shows up as tight shoulders. Sadness weighs heavy in the chest. Fear hides in the stomach. Anger burns behind the eyes. And the longer we ignore these sensations, the louder they become, not to punish us, but to remind us to listen. I once met a doctor who said, "Most people come to me with pain that began as silence." He explained that the body's language is sensation, and when we don't listen to its whispers, it begins to scream. Think about it. How many times have you said, "I'm just tired," when what you really meant was, "I'm overwhelmed"? How often have you blamed your posture or your chair when what your back was carrying wasn't weight, but worry? Our culture teaches us to push through, to numb discomfort with caffeine, to bury restlessness with productivity. But the body has its own form of wisdom. It doesn't lie. It doesn't care about appearances or deadlines. It only asks, "Will you stop and listen to me?" Sarah began doing just that. Every morning, before checking her phone, she would sit on the edge of her bed, place a hand on her chest, and ask softly, "How are we today?" Some days her body answered with calm. Other days, it pulsed with anxiety or fatigue. But she learned not to judge. She just noticed, like listening to weather inside her own skin. Over time, something shifted. The back pain that had haunted her for years began to ease. Not because of medicine or stretching, but because she finally stopped tightening against life. She started walking slower, breathing deeper, and allowing her feelings to exist without resistance. Her body, once a battlefield, was becoming a sanctuary. The Buddha taught that the body is not the enemy. It's the most honest teacher we have. It tells us when we're out of balance, when we've been living too far from ourselves. When you feel restless, it's your body asking for grounding. When you feel heavy, it's your body asking for release. When you feel numb, it's your body asking for attention. The body speaks through sensations, a flutter in the stomach, a lump in the throat, a subtle ache behind the eyes. Each one is a messenger. Each one says, "There's something here to feel." Try this for a moment. Pause whatever you're doing, close your eyes and bring your attention into your body. Don't analyze, just feel. Is there tightness in your shoulders, a heaviness in your chest, a flutter in your belly? Instead of pushing it away, breathe into it. Inhale softly, as if you were creating space around the feeling. Exhale slowly, as if you were whispering, "It's safe to be felt." Notice what happens when you stop fighting your sensations. The pain doesn't always disappear, but it begins to move, to flow, to breathe again. Because emotion is meant to move. That's why it's called emotion, energy in motion. When it's allowed to move, it transforms. When it's trapped, it becomes suffering. One evening, months after that first yoga class, Sarah returned to the studio. The same teacher smiled at her and said, "You look lighter." Sarah nodded. "I think I finally stopped holding my breath." She wasn't talking about oxygen. She was talking about life. For years, she had held her breath through pain, through change, through loss. Now she was learning to exhale, to let go, to allow, to trust. And in that letting go, she realized that healing doesn't come from doing more. It comes from listening more deeply. The body remembers, yes, but it also forgives. Every breath you take is an invitation to start over. Every exhale is a small act of release. Every heartbeat is proof that you are still here, still capable of gentleness. You don't need to understand every memory or fix every wound. You just need to give your body permission to feel what it already knows. The rest unfolds naturally. So tonight, as you rest, place a hand on your heart or over your belly. Feel the warmth there. Maybe there's tension. Maybe there's peace. Whatever it is, let it be. Say quietly, Thank you for carrying me. I'm listening now. You may be surprised at how much your body has been waiting for those words. If this story helped you reconnect with yourself, take a deep breath, like this video, or share it with someone who's forgotten how wise their body truly is. Because the more we listen, the softer the world becomes. And in our next part, we'll learn to listen even more deeply to the subtle whispers of the body before it has to shout, and discover how awareness itself can heal what time cannot. Listening to the body's whisper. Before the body screams, it always whispers. But most of us only start listening when it's already shouting. It began, as it often does, with something small. A tightness in the shoulders, a restless night, a strange fatigue that coffee couldn't fix. For weeks, Anna ignored it. She told herself she was just tired, that it was nothing. But one morning, as she reached for her laptop, her fingers froze halfway, her wrist burned, her breath caught. Her body, which had been whispering for months, had finally decided to raise its voice. That day, sitting in the doctor's office, Anna felt something deeper than pain. She felt guilt for not listening sooner. Guilt for treating her body like a machine instead of a friend. We often forget that our bodies are not separate from our minds. They are the same story written in two languages. The mind uses words, the body uses sensations, and while the mind can lie, the body never does. Every ache, every knot, every flutter in your chest is the body's way of saying, something inside you needs attention. But because we live in a world that rewards speed and productivity, we learn to ignore those messages. We swallow the whispers with pills, drown them in caffeine, silence them with noise, until, eventually, they become screams, anxiety, burnout, illness, collapse. There's an old saying in Buddhist teachings, when you listen deeply, the body becomes your first teacher. It doesn't speak in philosophy or logic. It speaks through rhythm, through the way your shoulders lift when you're anxious, the way your breath shortens when you're afraid, the way your stomach tightens when you're suppressing truth. When you slow down enough to listen, you begin to notice that the body is never random. It's precise. It knows what's happening before the mind catches up. One evening, during a meditation retreat, Anna's teacher asked everyone to close their eyes and scan their bodies, starting from the soles of their feet up to the crown of their head. At first, she felt nothing, just the usual buzz of thoughts and the hum of the air conditioner. But as the minutes passed, she noticed something subtle, a dull ache behind her chest bone, a heaviness that had nothing to do with her muscles. The teacher's voice floated through the room. Don't rush to fix it, just breathe into it. Ask, what are you trying to tell me? Anna did, and suddenly, memories surfaced. A fight with her mother years ago, a promise she broke, a grief she had never let herself feel. She didn't need to analyze it, she just needed to listen. As she breathed, the heaviness softened, not gone, just lighter, as if her body had finally been heard. We live surrounded by noise, but silence is where the truth speaks. And your body is part of that truth. It remembers the stories your mind wants to forget. Sometimes the tightness in your jaw isn't from stress at work, but from the words you didn't say. Sometimes the ache in your chest isn't physical, but emotional. The weight of caring too much, too long. And sometimes the exhaustion that won't leave is your body's way of begging for rest that sleep alone can't give. Listening to the body's whisper means learning to hear these messages early, before they become demands. Try this. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and let it out gently through your mouth. Now bring your attention to your body as if you were visiting a friend. Ask quietly, "How are you today?" Then listen, not for words but for sensations. Maybe you feel warmth. Maybe you feel heaviness. Maybe you feel nothing at all. Whatever appears, don't judge it. Don't label it good or bad. Just acknowledge it. I see you. I hear you. You may be surprised how much your body says once it realizes you're finally listening. The Buddha taught that awareness is like sunlight. It doesn't need to fight the darkness. It only needs to shine. When you bring gentle attention to a tense part of your body, you bring light to it, and light, by its nature, heals. Awareness doesn't mean dissecting every ache. It means being present enough to care. It means resting your hand on your heart and saying, "I'm here." It means trusting that your body isn't betraying you. It's guiding you. Anna began practicing this every day. Instead of pushing through fatigue, she paused to rest. Instead of ignoring her headaches, she drank water, took a walk, and breathed. Instead of brushing off her sadness, she placed a hand over her chest and whispered, "It's okay to feel this." Slowly, her relationship with her body changed. She stopped seeing it as something to control and started seeing it as something sacred, a home that had always been trying to protect her. The whispers didn't disappear, but they became gentler, like a conversation instead of a battle. One morning, she looked in the mirror and said aloud, "I used to think my body was weak. Now I see it's been strong all along, carrying me even when I wasn't kind to it. The body isn't the problem. It's the messenger. It holds the map back to presence. But we have to slow down enough to read it. When your body aches, it's not against you. It's calling you. When you feel restless, it's not failure. It's a signal. And when you finally stop ignoring those signals, healing doesn't just happen in the body, it happens in the heart. So tonight, as you rest, take one slow breath and listen closely. Maybe your body is saying, "Thank you." Maybe it's saying, "Please slow down." Maybe it's saying nothing at all, which is its way of saying, "All is well." Whatever it whispers, honor it. Respond not with judgment, but with care, because the body has been waiting a long time to be your friend again. If this story helps you remember to listen inwardly, pause for a moment, like this video, or share it with someone who's been running on empty. Sometimes all it takes to begin healing is to hear what the body has been quietly saying all along. And as we continue, we'll move from listening to the body to listening to the breath, the sacred bridge that connects body, mind, and peace itself. The sacred breath. Long before there were words for meditation, before the world learned about mindfulness, there was breath. It has been with you since the very first moment, that gasp of air when you entered the world. It will also be with you at your very last moment, a quiet exhale into eternity. Everything in between is borrowed time, measured not by hours or years, but by breaths. And yet, how easily we forget this most sacred rhythm. One morning at the retreat, the teacher asked everyone to focus only on breathing. No mantras, no complex techniques, just the rise and fall of the body. At first, Maya thought it sounded too simple. How could something so ordinary lead to peace? She had read countless books, tried long meditations, but this, just breathing, felt almost childish. Still, she closed her eyes and tried. Inhale. Exhale. Within seconds, her thoughts barged in. What's for lunch? Did I reply to that message? My back hurts. This is boring. The monkey mind was alive again. She sighed, frustrated. But then she heard the teacher say softly, "When your mind wanders, don't chase it, don't judge it. Just come back home to your breath. Each breath is a new beginning." Something in her relaxed. She tried again. Inhale. The air felt cool entering her nose. Exhale. The air felt warm leaving her mouth. For a moment, the noise in her head softened. Then she realized something, simple yet profound. The breath had been there all along, waiting patiently, like an old friend who never left. Breath is life's most faithful companion. It doesn't judge your success or failure. It doesn't care if you are calm or chaotic. It just keeps showing up. In, out, as if whispering, no matter what happens, I'm still here. When you pay attention to it, you start to notice its quiet wisdom. When you're angry, your breath becomes sharp. When you're afraid, it hides high in your chest. When you're sad, it turns heavy and slow. And when you're at peace, it flows effortlessly, steady, open, free. Your breath is the mirror of your mind. If you learn to read it, you can understand yourself without a single word. The Buddha taught that the breath is the bridge between the body and the mind. When they are disconnected, we suffer, lost in thought, cut off from the present moment. But when breath, body, and awareness move together, we return to wholeness. That's why every tradition, from east to west, has some version of this truth. Breathe, and you will remember who you are. I once met a woman who had suffered from anxiety for years. She told me, "I've spent my whole life chasing calm." Then one day, my therapist said, "Don't chase calm, just chase your breath." So I did, and calm found me instead. She described how, during panic attacks, she would simply count. Inhale, 1. Exhale, 2. At first, it felt mechanical, but over time the numbers dissolved, and what remained was silence. A silence that held her like a mother holds her child. That's the magic of breath. It doesn't need belief, just attention. Right now, try this with me. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for just a heartbeat. Now exhale softly through your mouth. Again, breathe in peace. Breathe out tension. In, out. Notice how the body moves without effort. How the chest rises, the belly expands, how the air feels cool and kind. That's life, moving through you, asking for nothing in return. Every breath is a reminder. You are being lived by something larger than yourself. Maya began to notice this throughout her day. When she felt overwhelmed, she paused. 3 slow breaths before answering an email. 1 deep inhale before opening her phone. A long exhale before speaking in a tense conversation. These small pauses didn't change the world around her, but they changed her world within. She said later, "It's strange. Life didn't slow down, but I did. And suddenly, I could see beauty where before I saw only noise." That's what breath does. It doesn't remove chaos. It reminds you that you're more than the chaos. The breath also teaches impermanence. Each inhale is birth, each exhale is death. And yet between the two, there is no fear, only flow. When we resist change, we hold our breath. When we trust life, we breathe fully. Every time you inhale, you say yes to life. Every time you exhale, you let go of control. To breathe consciously is to live consciously. It's to remember that everything is temporary. Joy, pain, thoughts, sensations, all rising and falling like breath itself. In one of his teachings, the Buddha compared mindful breathing to tuning a musical instrument. If the string is too tight, it breaks. If it's too loose, it won't play. Awareness must be balanced, gentle, steady, kind. You don't have to force your breath. You don't have to make it spiritual. Just notice it. The simple miracle that it happens at all. Right now, while you listen, your breath is carrying you through this moment. No effort, no struggle, just presence. One evening, as the retreat ended, Maya sat by the window watching the sky fade into dusk. She placed a hand over her heart and whispered, "Thank you, breath." Not as a ritual, but as gratitude, because she finally understood. Peace isn't found in escaping life. It's found in breathing through it. Your breath is your anchor in every storm, your bridge in every confusion, your soft home in every heartbreak. No matter where you are, no matter what you're facing, you can always begin again with one conscious breath. So before this part ends, try one more. Inhale, slowly, deeply, kindly. Exhale, fully, freely, completely. That's all. The world will wait while you breathe. And maybe, if this story brought you even one peaceful breath, pause for a moment, like this video, or share it with someone who's forgotten how sacred it is just to be alive. Because every mindful breath is an act of love for yourself, for the world, for this fragile, beautiful life. Walking slowly in a fast world. Tokyo Station at rush hour is a living river. Thousands of people move at once, heels clicking, doors sliding, announcements echoing. The air hums with urgency. Everyone seems to be late for something. In the middle of this storm of motion, a man in grey robes walked slowly. His steps were soft, steady, unhurried, like he was moving to a rhythm the rest of the world had forgotten. His name was Shinyo. He wasn't trying to make a statement. He wasn't lost or confused. He was practicing. Every day, for nearly 20 years, he had walked from his small temple to the train station to greet the morning with mindful steps. He once told a journalist, "The world runs fast enough. Someone should walk for those who cannot slow down." That morning, as commuters brushed past him, a young woman stopped. Her name was Ayumi, a marketing manager late for a meeting. She was carrying a coffee in one hand, her phone in the other, her heart beating like a trapped bird. She almost bumped into him. He looked up, met her eyes and smiled. "Good morning," he said. His voice was calm like still water. She muttered a quick apology and rushed past. But something about that brief exchange lingered. For the rest of the day, she couldn't shake the image of the man walking slowly while the world spun around him. That night, exhausted, she looked up his temple online. She found a small video of him teaching. In it, he said, "When we walk, we usually walk to something, to work, to the store, to the future. But mindful walking is different. It's not walking to, it's walking with your breath, with your body, with life itself." He paused, smiling. "If you can walk in peace, you can live in peace. Because every moment is just another step." Ayumi laughed softly at the simplicity of it. Could walking really change anything? Still, the next morning, she decided to try. The city was just waking up. Her usual route to the station was crowded as ever. Cars honked. People jostled for space. She wanted to move fast, but she remembered the monk's words. Walk with, not to. So she slowed down, just a little. She noticed the sound of her own footsteps, the cool air brushing her face, the way sunlight touched the buildings. She felt awkward at first, like someone moving in slow motion in a film played too fast. But within minutes, something shifted. The chaos didn't stop, but she was no longer caught in it. It was as if she had stepped out of the noise without leaving it. She arrived at the station later than usual, but calmer than she'd been in months. And for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel late. She felt present. That's the quiet power of walking meditation. You don't need silence or solitude. You just need awareness. Every step becomes an anchor. Every breath a reminder that you're still here. The Buddha once said, "When you walk, walk. When you sit, sit. Just don't wobble." He wasn't talking about physical balance. He meant mental balance, the ability to be fully in what you're doing. When you walk mindfully, you stop rushing toward the next thing and start arriving in the thing you're already in. You realize there's no real destination, only steps. The modern world teaches the opposite. It tells us to multitask, to move faster, to measure our worth by productivity. But mindfulness whispers, you are allowed to go slow, because slowness isn't laziness. It's presence. It's the courage to live at the speed of your soul, not the speed of the world. When you walk slowly, You notice details that hurry hides. The color of morning light, the smell of bread from a nearby cafe, the way a stranger's smile can change your day, and slowly, without realizing it, you begin to fall in love with ordinary life again. Walking meditation isn't about escaping reality. It's about learning to walk inside it, to bring stillness into motion, because peace isn't a place you reach. It's something you carry with you, step by step. Try this the next time you walk. Don't walk to get somewhere. Walk to feel yourself arrive. Feel your foot touch the ground, heel, sole, toes. Notice the weight transfer, the gentle sway of your hips, the air moving past your skin. Breathe in as you lift your foot. Breathe out as you place it down. If your mind wanders, don't worry. Just smile and bring it back to the next step. You'll find that the world begins to soften. The same streets you used to rush through start to feel like paths of wonder. The noise becomes music. The crowd becomes a dance. Because when you walk with awareness, you stop being a stranger in your own life. A few weeks later, Ayumi saw the monk again. Same place, same time, walking as if nothing in the world could disturb him. This time she didn't rush past. She slowed down. Their eyes met again. He nodded, still smiling, still walking. He asked gently, "Yes," she said, and realized she meant more than just walking through the station. She meant walking through life itself, one mindful step at a time. The Buddha once compared life to a path through the forest. You can't rush through it. The more you hurry, the more you trip. But if you slow down, you start to see the sunlight through the trees, the texture of each leaf, the sacredness of each step. Mindful walking isn't about getting somewhere faster. It's about realizing that you're already home. So tonight, or tomorrow morning, wherever you are, maybe on a city street, a quiet trail, or even just pacing your living room, try walking slowly, just for a few steps. Let your body set the rhythm. Let your breath lead the way. And notice how, even in the busiest world, peace is only ever one step away. If this story reminded you to slow down, pause for a moment, like this video, or share it with someone who's been running too long without rest. Because every slow step you take is not just movement, it's meditation in disguise. And in our next part, we'll explore another timeless truth: how life itself is always changing, and how flowing with that change can become the deepest form of peace. The Farmer's Horse. Once upon a time, there was an old farmer who lived in a small village on the edge of the mountains. He owned only one horse, a beautiful white mare that helped him plow the fields and carry his crops to market. One morning, he woke up to find that the horse had run away. The neighbors gathered at his gate, shaking their heads in sympathy. "What bad luck," they said. The old farmer simply replied, "Maybe." A week later, the horse returned, and she wasn't alone. She had brought back 2 wild stallions from the hills. The neighbors rushed over again, smiling this time. "What wonderful luck," they said. The farmer shrugged. "Maybe." Days later, the farmer's only son tried to tame one of the new horses. The stallion bucked wildly and threw him to the ground, breaking his leg. The neighbors came again, clucking their tongues. "Oh, what terrible luck," they said. The farmer nodded slowly. "Maybe. A month later, soldiers rode into the village, gathering every able young man to fight in a distant war. When they saw the farmer's son with his broken leg, they left him behind. The neighbors cried, "You're so lucky." The farmer smiled, looking out at his fields in the sunset. Maybe. That's how the story goes. A simple tale told for centuries, passed from teacher to student, from parent to child. But hidden inside this humble story is one of life's greatest teachings. We spend so much of our lives labeling things: good, bad, success, failure, gain, loss. Yet the truth is, we never really know. What seems like a disaster today may be the seed of tomorrow's blessing, and what feels like good fortune now may someday reveal its hidden cost. Everything is still unfolding. The story isn't over yet. The Buddha once said, "Attachment to views is the beginning of sorrow." He wasn't telling us not to care. He was inviting us to see more clearly, because life is not a straight line. It's a circle of causes and conditions, always shifting, always transforming. When we judge too quickly, we close ourselves off from understanding. But when we stay curious, when we say maybe, we keep our hearts open to wisdom. Maya remembered hearing this story for the first time during a retreat. At the time, she was struggling with a painful breakup. Her teacher told the tale of the farmer and asked, "What if this heartbreak isn't happening to you, but for you?" Maya frowned. "For me? How could pain be for me?" The teacher smiled. Maybe. It took months for her to see what he meant, but slowly, as her heart healed, she realized that losing someone had opened space for her to find herself. That grief had carved out room for compassion. That endings, too, are beginnings in disguise. This story reminds us that life is not divided into good and bad. It's simply a flow of events, each one shaping the next, each one necessary for the whole. The rain that ruins your picnic also feeds the crops that become your food. The job you lose might be the very thing that pushes you toward your true purpose. The person who leaves might be the one who teaches you how to love yourself fully. We can't always see the full picture while we're still inside the frame, but time, like water, eventually reveals how everything connects. In modern life, we love certainty. We crave conclusions. We want to know right now whether something is worth it, but wisdom grows in uncertainty. Peace blooms in patience. When something goes wrong, the mind screams, "This shouldn't be happening." But the heart, if you listen closely, whispers, "Wait, just wait." Because even the hardest moments carry hidden grace. Sometimes loss protects us, sometimes delay redirects us, sometimes heartbreak refines us. We just can't see it yet. That's why the old farmer's simple word, maybe, is so powerful. It's not indifference, it's trust. Trust in the unfolding of life. Try this the next time something unexpected happens. Pause before labeling it, before saying this is bad or this is good. Just breathe and say quietly, maybe. Let the story unfold before you decide what it means. Watch how that tiny pause creates space. Space for peace. Space for perspective. Space for wisdom to rise. You'll begin to see that life is not happening against you, but through you. It's not a series of random events, but a river that knows its way. even when you don't. The Buddha taught impermanence not to make us sad, but to free us from panic when things change. He wanted us to see that clinging to how it should be is the source of suffering. But when we loosen our grip, the flow of life carries us toward understanding. In time, everything transforms, pain into empathy, loss into wisdom, fear into faith. What's unbearable today may be the very thing that opens your heart tomorrow. One day, months after hearing the story, Maya visited a farm outside Kyoto. As she walked past the fields, she saw a white horse grazing in the distance. It lifted its head, looked at her with calm, intelligent eyes, then returned to eating. She smiled and whispered, "Maybe." And in that simple word, she felt the weight of years lift from her chest. She finally understood. Life doesn't owe us answers. It offers us experiences. Our task isn't to label them, but to live them fully. So tonight, if something in your life feels uncertain or unfair, try not to judge it too quickly. Breathe. Trust the process that's still unfolding. You don't have to know the meaning yet. You just have to keep walking, because someday you may look back and realize that what once felt like loss was the first step toward freedom. If this story helped you see life a little differently, pause for a breath, like this video, or share it with someone who's struggling to understand their own bad luck. Because sometimes all we need is a reminder that every story, even the painful ones, is still being written. And as we move to the next part, we'll follow that river of change itself to see how embracing impermanence becomes the deepest form of peace. The river of change. There is a river that runs through every life. You can't see it, but you can feel it. The constant movement of moments, the quiet current of beginnings and endings. Some days, the river flows gently, reflecting the sunlight of your joy. Other days, it rushes wild, pulling you through loss, through uncertainty, through storms you never asked for. And yet, no matter how far it travels, the river is never the same, and neither are you. One autumn afternoon, Maya walked along a narrow trail that followed the edge of a river. The water shimmered with golden light, its surface dancing with fallen leaves. She watched as one leaf floated past, spinning slowly before vanishing downstream. For a moment, she felt an ache in her chest. That strange, familiar sadness that comes when beauty reminds you it won't last. The air was cool, the world quiet, and in that stillness, she remembered her teacher's words. Everything changes. That is both the tragedy and the miracle of life. We often speak of change as something that happens to us, as if we could stay the same while the world moves on. But in truth, we are the change. Every cell in your body renews itself. Every thought rises and falls like waves. Every breath you take is proof that nothing stays still. The Buddha called this the nature of existence, impermanence. He didn't say it to make us despair. He said it so we could finally stop clinging to what's already passing. Because suffering doesn't come from change itself. It comes from our refusal to flow with it. When we lose something, a person, a dream, a version of ourselves. We often fight the river. We try to swim upstream, desperate to return to what used to be. But the river never flows backward. And the more we resist, the more exhausted we become. The truth is, life will take things from us. It will also give us new things in return. But we can't receive what's next if our hands are still gripping what's gone. Letting go isn't forgetting. It's learning to love without holding, to remember without clinging, to trust that what's meant to stay will find its own way back. Maya stopped by a large stone beside the water and sat down. She closed her eyes and listened, not just to the river, but to herself. In the sound of flowing water, she heard echoes of her own life. Relationships that had changed, places she had left, versions of herself she had outgrown. She realized how much energy she had spent trying to stop time. Every if only, every what if, every I wish had been a way of swimming against the current. But now, sitting there, she began to understand something simple. She didn't have to stop the river. She just had to stop fighting it. The Buddha once told his disciples, "Everything that arises will pass away. When you see this clearly, you will find peace." That doesn't mean we should be indifferent. It means we should love things more deeply, because we know they won't last. When you hold a flower knowing it will fade, you appreciate its fragrance even more. When you watch the sunset knowing it will disappear, you let its colors sink deeper into your heart. When you understand that every conversation might be the last, you listen more tenderly. Impermanence isn't the thief of beauty. It's the reason beauty matters at all. We think of permanence as safety, but permanence is an illusion. Everything you've ever loved has changed form, and yet, somehow, love remains. The people you've lost, their laughter still lives in your memory. The dreams that didn't come true, they shape the strength you have today. Even the versions of yourself that you thought were gone, they still whisper in your heart, guiding your next steps. Nothing truly disappears. It only transforms, like water turning into mist, like a leaf becoming soil, like breath turning into silence. When you learn to see life this way, you stop being afraid of endings. You begin to see them for what they are, the space that makes room for beginnings. The river of change doesn't ask for your permission to flow. It asks for your trust to float. Try this the next time something shifts unexpectedly. Pause. Take one gentle breath. Imagine a river inside you, flowing from your heart outward. See how it moves, steady, endless, clear. Whatever pain or confusion you're feeling, drop it into that river. Watch it drift away. You don't have to push it, just let it go with the current. Then say quietly, "I allow things to change." You'll feel your heart loosen, just a little at first, then more with each breath. Because peace isn't holding on, peace is floating. That evening, as Maya stood on the riverbank watching the sky turn amber, she saw her reflection shimmering on the water. Each ripple distorted her face, and yet, somehow, it was still her. "The same, and not the same," she smiled. "Everything changes," she whispered. "And so do I." Then she dipped her hand into the river. The water was cool, alive. She watched as it slid through her fingers and rejoined the flow. Never lost, only transformed. We can't freeze time. We can't hold on to moments, but we can be present for them as they pass. That's how we honor them. That's how we live fully. Not by clinging to the shore, but by trusting the current. So tonight, whatever river you find yourself in, grief, transition, uncertainty, remember, you are not being swept away. You are being carried. If this story reminded you to breathe a little deeper, pause here, like this video, or share it with someone who's learning to let go. Because when we learn to flow with change, we stop fearing life and start floating with it. You are not the waves. It was just before sunrise. Maya stood by the ocean, watching the waves roll in one after another. The air was cool, the sky painted in soft grey and gold. Each wave rose, curled, and crashed. And then another followed, and another. She realized that the ocean never stopped moving. Even in silence, it was alive. Even in stillness, there was motion. For a moment, she felt like her own mind was just like that. Constant waves, rising and falling, thoughts, emotions, worries, memories. Sometimes gentle, sometimes wild, never still for long, and then a single sentence from her teacher echoed in her memory. You are not the waves. You are the ocean. At first it sounded poetic, beautiful but distant. But now, standing there, watching the endless dance of water and wind, she understood. We spend so much of our lives identifying with the surface of our experience, our moods, our fears, our changing stories. We say, I am angry. I am anxious. I am broken. But those are just waves. They come, they go, and beneath them, the ocean remains. The Buddha once said, just as the great ocean has one taste, the taste of salt, so too does the Dharma have one taste, the taste of freedom. Freedom, he meant, is found when we stop confusing ourselves with our passing emotions. Emotions are weather. You are the sky, thoughts are waves. You are the ocean. No matter how big the storm, the depth beneath remains calm. Most of us live only on the surface. When joy comes, we float high. When sadness comes, we sink. We spend our days reacting to every ripple, believing the waves are who we are. But if you dive deep enough, you discover a silence that nothing can disturb. Not because the surface stops moving, but because the depth is never touched by the storm. I once met a man named Thomas, a retired sailor who had spent 40 years at sea. He told me, people think storms are wildest at the surface, and they are, but go down even 50 feet and it's quiet. The deeper you go, the calmer it gets. He paused, looking out at the horizon. The ocean taught me something. Peace isn't found by avoiding the storm. It's found by going deep enough not to be broken by it. That's the essence of this teaching. You don't have to calm every wave in your mind. You only need to stop mistaking yourself for them. Maya sat on the sand, closed her eyes, and began to breathe. Inhale, a wave rising. Exhale, a wave falling. Over and over again, until the rhythm of her breath began to match the ocean's own. She felt thoughts coming, memories, worries, the hum of daily life. But instead of fighting them, she watched them roll in and out. Each one arrived, made a splash, and dissolved. Then something shifted. The thoughts didn't disappear, but they lost their power. She was no longer in the storm. She was watching it from beneath, resting in a stillness too deep to be disturbed. The Buddha taught that this stillness, this awareness, is our true nature. It's not something we have to earn. It's what remains when everything else fades. Imagine a mirror reflecting the waves. No matter what appears, sunlight, storm, foam, shadow, the mirror itself remains untouched. That's awareness. That's you. When you realize this, you no longer drown in your emotions. You can feel deeply without being consumed. You can grieve without losing yourself to grief. You can love without fear of the pain that might follow, because you understand. The waves are temporary. The ocean is eternal. Try this the next time your thoughts start crashing like waves. Close your eyes. Take one slow breath. Imagine yourself sitting on the shore of your mind. Watch the waves come in. Thoughts, feelings, memories. Don't push them away. Don't chase them. Just watch. See how each one rises, crests, and falls. Notice that between the waves, there's always a moment of stillness. That stillness is your center, the deep water of your being. Stay there for a few breaths. Let the waves pass. You don't have to do anything to calm them. They were never meant to last. When you start living this way, something beautiful happens. Life doesn't stop being messy, but you stop fearing the mess. You begin to flow with everything. Joy, sorrow, gain, loss, knowing that all of it belongs to the same vast sea. Even the waves that hurt you are part of the same water that heals you. Even the storms that shake you are part of the same ocean that holds you. Everything changes, and yet, something in you never does. Maya opened her eyes and looked out again. The sea was calm now, a thin mist rising above it. She realized she wasn't separate from it. The rhythm of the waves matched the rhythm of her heart. She smiled. "I am not the waves," she whispered. "I am the ocean." And with those words, she felt the kind of peace that doesn't need proof, the peace that comes when you stop fighting life and start belonging to it. We spend so much time trying to control our thoughts, to make the waves behave, but the ocean doesn't scold the waves. It lets them rise and fall, knowing they can't harm what it truly is. You too can live that way, unmoved in your depth, kind on your surface, vast enough to hold it all. So tonight, as you rest, let your breath be the tide. Let your heart be the deep sea, and let the world in all its chaos move as it must. Because peace isn't found when the waves stop. It's found when you remember you were never separate from the ocean at all. If this story helped you feel a little more spacious inside, pause for a moment, like this video, or share it with someone who's been drowning in their own thoughts. Remind them, they are not the waves, they are the vast, unbreakable ocean beneath. The leaf that let go. Autumn had arrived quietly, the way change often does. Not with thunder or drama, but with small silent shifts. The air grew cooler, the light turned golden, and the trees began their slow transformation, each leaf a little flame preparing to fall. Maya walked through the park near her home, her hands tucked into her coat pockets, listening to the crisp whisper of leaves beneath her feet. It was a season she both loved and dreaded, beautiful, yet bittersweet. Everywhere she looked, she saw letting go, the trees releasing what no longer served them, the wind carrying away what had once been full of life, and though it was just nature's rhythm, something inside her ached. She had been struggling to let go, too, of a friendship that had drifted away, of a dream that no longer fit, of the version of herself that had once felt so certain. As she walked, she noticed a single leaf still clinging to a high branch, a bright yellow one, trembling in the wind. It caught her attention, the way fragile things do. For a long moment, it stayed there, fighting the inevitable, until finally a small gust of wind came, and the leaf let go. It twirled through the air, graceful, weightless, until it landed softly on the ground beside her. Maya bent down and picked it up. It was thin, delicate, almost translucent in the light. She held it gently in her palm and whispered, "How do you do it? How do you let go so easily?" There was no answer, of course, but standing there beneath the fading trees, she realized something simple, yet profound. The leaf didn't let go because it wanted to. It let go because it was time. Nature doesn't resist change. Only humans do. The tree didn't mourn the leaf. The leaf didn't fight the wind. Both trusted the process that had carried them through countless seasons. In Buddhism, impermanence isn't something to fear. It's the truth that sets us free. Everything we hold, our possessions, our roles, even our bodies, is borrowed. And when the time comes, life asks for them back. The pain of letting go comes not from the loss itself, but from the struggle to keep holding on. We think if we can grip tightly enough, we can stop the world from changing. But the truth is, change isn't the enemy. Resistance, as Maya remembered a story her teacher once told her about a monk who carried a bowl of water everywhere he went. One day, someone asked, "Why do you carry that bowl?" He smiled and said, "To remind me that my peace is like this water. When I cling to it, it spills. When I hold it gently, it stays." That's what letting go really is. Not rejection, not forgetting, but gentle holding. Loving something enough to release it when it's time. She looked at the leaf again, turning it over in her hand. It was no longer green, no longer alive in the way it once was. But there was beauty in its transformation. It had spent the summer giving shade, turning sunlight into life. Now, even in its falling, it would become nourishment for the soil. Nothing was truly lost. It was just changing form, and maybe that was true for her too. The friendship that ended, the dream that faded, the parts of herself she thought were gone. Maybe they weren't gone at all. Maybe they had simply become the soil from which something new would grow. The Buddha once said, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." Maya whispered those words to herself as she walked. She realized that letting go isn't weakness. It's trust. Trust that life knows what it's doing, even when we don't. Trust that every ending carries within it the seed of a new beginning. The hardest part isn't releasing what's gone. It's believing that you'll be okay without it, but you will. Because just like the tree, You were never meant to hold on to every leaf. You were meant to grow through the seasons, to shed what's done, to make space for what's next. As the sun began to set, Maya sat on a bench and closed her eyes. She felt the wind brushing against her face, cool and kind, like the breath of something ancient. She imagined herself as a tree, roots deep in the earth, branches reaching toward the sky. She imagined her worries as leaves, each one loosening, each one ready to fall. And one by one she let them go. Her fear, her guilt, her need to control what couldn't be controlled, her longing for things that had already passed. The wind carried them all away, and in their place, she felt light, not empty, just clear. That's the secret nature teaches us again and again. Nothing truly ends, it only transforms. The leaf doesn't die, it becomes the earth. The sun doesn't set, it turns into dawn somewhere else. The breath you release now will be the one someone else inhales later. Everything is connected. Everything continues. Letting go is not losing. It's joining the flow of what already is. When she opened her eyes, the world seemed softer. The same park, the same trees, but everything glowed with quiet acceptance. The sky had turned pink, and the moon was just beginning to rise. She placed the leaf on the bench beside her and smiled. "Thank you," she whispered. Then she stood up, took a slow breath, and began walking home. Not away from anything, but toward everything still waiting to unfold. So tonight, if you're holding something that's asking to be released, a memory, a fear, a version of yourself, remember the leaf. It didn't let go because it stopped loving the tree. It let go because it trusted the wind. You can trust it too. Take a breath, loosen your grip, and when you're ready, let it fall. Gently, naturally, beautifully. If this story brought you a moment of peace, pause here, like this video, or share it with someone who's learning how to release what no longer serves them. Because letting go isn't the end of love. It's how love learns to move. Compassion in motion. It began with a spilled coffee, a crowded morning train, the kind where strangers breathe the same air and avoid the same eye contact. The city rushed outside. Inside, everyone rushed in their minds. Maya stood near the door, hands wrapped around a paper cup for warmth more than caffeine. When the train lurched, a teenage boy bumped into an elderly man. The cup slipped. Coffee splashed across the old man's coat. The boy froze. "I'm sorry. I'm really sorry," he stammered, eyes wide, cheeks flushing. The old man's jaw tightened. He looked like someone who'd had enough. Maybe of mornings, maybe of life. Maya felt the familiar ache, the little voice that says, someone should do something. The next station was minutes away. Everyone else did the math. It's not my mess. It's not my problem. She knew that feeling. She had lived in that feeling. But there are moments when your heart speaks louder than your habits. She stepped forward. "I've got napkins." She opened her bag, pulled out a small pack, and gently dabbed at the coat. "The coffee will stain if we don't lift it now," she said, voice soft, eyes kind. The old man's expression shifted, resistance mixed with surprise. The boy reached for the napkins too, Please, let me, he said, blurting out the story he was carrying. Late for school, late for life, a mother working 2 jobs, a bus that never came. The old man listened. The crease between his brows softened. I was late at your age too, he said at last, to more things than I can count. 3 people who had been strangers a minute before were now a small circle of care. The train moved, so did something else, something inside each of them. Compassion was in motion. We often imagine compassion as a feeling we must cultivate, a warmth we hope to eventually earn. But the truth is, simpler and braver, compassion grows when we move towards suffering, ours or another's, with gentle hands and an open breath, not to fix, not to rescue, simply to be with. The Buddha taught that suffering is universal, and so is the capacity to respond. If pain is the thread that stitches human lives together, compassion is the needle that mends what's been torn. It's not pity. It's not superiority. Compassion is the quiet recognition. Your pain is not separate from mine. That morning on the train, nobody became a hero. A coat still needed cleaning. A boy was still late, but something sacred had shifted. Blame gave way to belonging. Fear gave way to tenderness. And tenderness, when allowed to move, changes the world more reliably than anger ever has. There's a story about a monk who walked through a city where people were tired and sharp with one another. He didn't preach. He didn't argue. He simply walked slowly, smiled often, and helped with whatever was in front of him. Picking up trash, holding a door, steadying a bicycle for a child. Someone asked why he did such small things. He said, because suffering hides in small places. So must compassion. Compassion in motion is exactly that, small, human, immediate. It asks, what is the next kind thing? Not the next grand thing. Not the next perfect thing. Just the next kind thing, right here. A text to a friend who disappeared from the group chat. A sincere thank you to the tired cashier. A pause long enough to listen, not to respond. A hand on your own heart when nobody else can offer one. Yes, compassion moves outward, but it must move inward too. If you are a dry well, you cannot offer water. The Buddha reminded his followers to love themselves the way a wise parent would love a child. Firmly, gently, without conditions. That kind of love is not indulgence. It's maintenance. It keeps your lamp lit so you can help light the way. Maya carried that train moment through her day. In meetings, she softened her eyes. On email, she removed the sentence that had heat but no light. She ate lunch without her phone and noticed a colleague staring out the window, blinking back tears. Ask or ignore, the mind said. She asked, are you okay? He hesitated, then nodded no. A family diagnosis, a fear he didn't know how to name. Maya didn't offer advice. She offered a chair and the time it takes to breathe a little easier. When he finished, he said, thank you for not trying to fix it. She smiled. I know. Sometimes fixing feels like pushing. I didn't want to push. Compassion isn't loud. Most days it's a cup placed where a hand can reach it. It's a sentence that chooses softness over victory. It's the courage to be present without managing someone's story. Here is a practice you can carry into any busy day. 3 breaths, 3 verbs. See, soften, serve. See, pause long enough to notice. What hurts here? In this person, in me? Is the heat I feel really anger, or is it fear wearing armor? Is their harshness a shield for their own overwhelm? Soften, loosen your jaw, drop your shoulders. Let one breath be slower than the rest. Whisper inwardly, "This is hard," not a performance, an admission. When we soften around pain, it stops bristling against us. Serve. Ask, what is the next kind thing? Then do only that much. A tissue, a glass of water, a hallway walked slowly, a boundary said kindly. Service is not self-erasure, it's precise care. This is compassion as a verb, alive, moving, doable. But what about compassion fatigue? Someone will ask. It's real. When we pour without pausing, we run dry. Compassion in motion requires rhythm. Inhale and exhale, giving and receiving, helping others and asking for help. The wise heart knows that boundaries are bridges. They make connections sustainable. Say, I want to be here for you. I also need 10 minutes to collect myself. Can we sit together after lunch? That's not selfish. That's oxygen before altitude. A heart that respects its limits remains available for the long road. That evening, on her way home, Maya stopped at a grocery store. At the register, a woman fumbled with a handful of coupons, muttering about prices, apologizing to everyone behind her. A familiar impatience rose in the line, a trembling creature ready to bite. Maya felt it in herself too, the day's fatigue hungry for an excuse. She rested her hand on the cart handle, let one breath widen. See, soften, serve. She stepped up, smiling. Take your time. We're okay. The cashier exhaled. The woman blinked, almost startled by the kindness, and, like a cloud losing its thunder, she smiled back. Compassion keeps choosing to de-escalate, not because you're a saint, but because peace in a small moment becomes peace in a larger one. Waves begin somewhere. So does calm. A friend once described her daily commute as a test disguised as traffic. She used to fail it spectacularly. Horns, sighs, words that curdled in the mouth. Then she began a practice. Pick one car each morning and silently wish the driver well. May you arrive safely. May your day be gentle. May the person waiting for you be kind. She said it changed nothing about the road and everything about the driver. Her. You can try this anywhere. In elevators, in waiting rooms, in the long line where everyone looks defeated. Let your eyes rest on a stranger's shoulders and send a warmth no one can see. You are not doing magic. You are remembering that beneath our costumes, we all ache in the same language. Compassion is not naive. It doesn't deny harm or erase accountability. It simply refuses to make anyone's pain less human, including your own. Sometimes the kindest act is a clear no, said early and said cleanly. Sometimes love steps away to stop a cycle from repeating. This too is compassion in motion. Protecting the conditions where everyone can heal. And yes, compassion is also courage. Courage to apologize without a parade. Courage to forgive slowly, honestly, and only when your body feels safe again. Courage to start small when the world demands big. The Buddha did not ask us to be perfect. He asked us to be awake. Awake enough to notice where suffering is, and gentle enough to lean toward it. On the train the next morning, Maya saw the elderly man again. The coffee stain had been washed clean. He caught her eye, lifted his cup in a small salute, and chuckled. No spills today. The teenage boy wasn't there, but somehow the kindness remained, like fragrance after a flower is gone. That's what compassion does when it moves. It leaves a trace. A slightly softer world, a little more room to breathe. If this story helped your heart loosen even a little, pause for a breath and gently like this video, or share it with someone who might need to feel a hand on their shoulder today. Your small act keeps the circle moving, one kindness traveling to the next. And as we turn to the next part, we'll explore how compassion and wisdom walk together, how seeing clearly and loving deeply are never enemies, but 2 feet of the same path. The still point within. Night had fully arrived. The sky stretched wide and endless above the retreat grounds. A deep velvet blue sprinkled with silver stars. The air was cool, almost weightless, and the only sound was the rhythm of crickets singing somewhere in the dark. Maya sat on the wooden steps outside her room. The day had been long and full. Lessons, laughter, tears, silence. Now, everything was still. She drew her knees close and took a slow breath, feeling the air move through her body as if the whole universe were breathing with her. For the first time in her life, she didn't feel like she had to go anywhere. Not forward, not backward, just here. She remembered what her teacher once said. In the center of all motion, there is stillness. And in that stillness, life reveals itself. We spend so much of our lives chasing stillness, trying to fix, finish, or finally escape our restlessness. But stillness isn't something we find. It's something we uncover. It's what remains when the noise quiets itself. The Buddha once said, "There is an island beyond the storm, and that island is within you." That island is not a place. It's a moment. This breath, this pause, this awareness, watching it all unfold. Close your eyes for a moment. You've traveled far to reach this place. Through stories of fear and release, through the waves and the wind, through the letting go of what was never meant to stay. Now there is nothing left to chase, nothing left to prove, only the gentle rhythm of your own existence. Breathe in, slowly, feel the air filling your chest. Breathe out, completely, feel the weight fall away. Notice the space between breaths. That silent pause where nothing moves, and yet everything feels alive. That's the still point. That's home. The mind may wander, as it always does. Let it. Like clouds drifting through the night sky, thoughts will come and go. You don't need to catch them. You don't need to chase them. You are not the clouds. You are the sky. You are not the thoughts. You are the awareness in which they appear and fade. Rest there, in the open space between doing and being. In that space, time dissolves. In that space, peace is not earned. It simply is. Maya placed her hand over her heart, feeling the steady pulse beneath her fingers. She smiled softly. For years she had been searching. For answers, for calm, for meaning. She had read books, taken courses, traveled across the world. But the truth was always closer than her breath. The journey was never about reaching somewhere new. It was about coming home to what had always been here. She looked up at the stars. They seemed to pulse with the same quiet rhythm as her heart. Inhale, exhale, rise, fall, light, dark. Everything was moving, and yet, somehow, everything was still. The Buddha called this peace nirvana, not a distant heaven, but the extinguishing of struggle, the moment the mind stops demanding that life be different. You don't have to understand it, you just have to feel it, right here, in this breath that asks for nothing, in this stillness that holds everything. Let your body soften, let your thoughts slow down, let your heart open just a little wider. Can you sense it? The gentle hum beneath all things, the still point within the motion, the silence beneath every sound, the awareness that has never left you. That is what you've been seeking all along. Try this. Take one more deep breath. As you inhale, imagine light entering through the crown of your head. Warm, golden, infinite. As you exhale, imagine that light spreading through your body, melting every tension, softening every edge, until you are nothing but breath, nothing but light, nothing but peace. Stay there for a moment. Let go of even the idea of letting go. Let yourself be, because stillness isn't the absence of life. It's the fullness of it. It's the quiet knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. In the morning, when the world stirs again, when emails and conversations and plans return, this stillness will still be here, inside you, unshaken. It doesn't disappear. It just waits patiently for you to remember. And you will remember in the pause between two breaths, in the warmth of a kind word, in the soft hush before sleep. Every time you come back to the present, you step onto that island again. Maya closed her eyes, feeling the breeze touch her face, the sounds of the night wrapped around her like a lullaby. Crickets, wind, her own heartbeat, all of it blending into one living symphony. She whispered quietly to herself, "Peace isn't somewhere else. It's right here, inside the breath that holds me." And with that, she smiled. Not the smile of someone who had found the end, but the smile of someone who had finally stopped searching. The stars shimmered above her. The world breathed with her. And in that still point within, she rested, weightless, timeless, whole. So now, dear listener, as this story comes to its close, let your own breath slow down. Feel your body melt into the surface beneath you. The day is done. You have nothing to fix, no one to impress, nowhere to be. Breathe. Rest. Trust. The same stillness that guided Maya is within you too. The same calm ocean beneath the waves. The same light behind every shadow. You don't have to hold anything. You don't have to chase peace. Just let it find you here in the rhythm of your breath, in the quiet of this night, in the sacred still point within. If this story helped you breathe a little easier, pause here, like this video, or share it with someone who needs a reminder that stillness is not far away. It's right here, waiting, softly, within. If this story touched your heart, pause for one breath of gratitude and help it reach another weary soul tonight by clicking like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Together, we can make peace go viral.